Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hi, good morning. Yes, I can. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
all right, that's perfect. Thank you. So apologies once again for the delay in trying to join and then the miscommunication. Once again, I apologize for that. So we'll just right into it because we're behind schedule. So today we'll be having a session on AI and mental health, and this session is all about the holiday season is coming in, and it's that time of the year where everybody's under stress. You have burnout, or let's say anxiety, and then there's increased pressure. Like the holiday is coming in, obviously you want to save up a lot to enjoy the holidays. You have deadlines to meet, and your stress level is always increasing at this point in time. And then as the season kicks in, we have burnout, anxiety, all these things tend to creep in also to, disrupt your enjoyment or your fun, right? And this is something that we can all relate to, especially those of us who juggle multiple roles. But today we're going to be talking about how to handle this, how to handle your burnout and your anxiety, how to reduce this. And we're going to talk about how to leverage AI to ease these anxiety levels, and then ways to make mental health resources more accessible using AI tools. And taking us on this is Alexander Comfort. Now, just a little about our speaker. She is a practicing counseling psychologist who specializes in clinical and mental health counseling. Now, she has a strong commitment to advancing mental health awareness and education. She has also spearheaded various initiatives across Nigeria. She brought about mental health discussions to diverse audiences. And her mission is clear. I really love her mission. When I went through it, it was really, really inspiring. So her mission is to inspire a widespread shift towards proactive mental health practices in order to foster healthier and soundier lives for all, equipping individuals with the tools to navigate mental health challenges, prevent triggers and cultivate a holistic well-being. And I love one of her achievements. I saw one of her achievements. I actually went through her LinkedIn, so you can check her out on LinkedIn. Her name is Alexander Comfort. If you want to connect with her after the session, so one of her notable achievements includes training over 1,000 staff members of Niger Delta Development Commission on the psychology of debt. And this session was, this notable achievement was just to like explore the profound impact of our relationship with money and overall well-being and mental health, in order to provide valuable insights into how mindset shapes financial behaviors and mental health outcomes. So I'm really, really, I expect a lot from today's session, and I'm very sure we all do. So at this point, I'll be leaving Comfort to take us on this journey on this session. And please, if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A button to drop your questions, or you can use the chat section, which you'll be tending to after her talk. Yeah. So once again, hi Comfort. I think the floor is yours at this point. So I'll stop sharing my screen and then we can start. Thank you.
Okay, so once again, good morning, everybody that's on the call. I'm not able to see everybody's face. I would have actually said good morning and mentioned everybody's name. So thank you for the opportunity to share with your audience, Ma'am Joy, Mr. Philip. I think that's the names I can see on my screen. So right about now, without much ado, I'll just go straight into our conversation for today. That's understanding and dealing with burnout and anxiety. So you permit me to share my screen. Okay. Okay, so someone should please confirm I'm sharing correctly. Mom Joy, can you confirm what you're seeing on your screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen, but it would be nice if the sidebar or something is not showing.
Okay, where you have the stop sharing. Is that what
Uh,
you mean?
Do the
no, like
slideshow. Do the
like you can
slideshow.
do the slideshow. Yeah.
Click on slideshow.
Okay, just hold
So you,
on.
so you do the presentation.
Okay.
Can you see slideshow on top? The bar on after animation slideshow review.
Okay.
So click on slideshow, yes. Then click on from the beginning at your left. From the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we are good, right? Are we good?
Um Not yet seen it. Is it presenting from your end
Okay. What were
from
you
talking?
intending to see?
I want to see the
Yes, it is.
presentation.
Can you see from your end?
Not yet. Maybe it's gonna take time for it to show us here.
I think I can see the presentation. I can see the screen.
Can you see the full screen presentation PowerPoint full screen?
I'm seeing her PowerPoint window with the
So
the
yeah, we don't
slides
want to
on
see
the
the
side.
window. We don't want to see the window.
Is it up now?
No, do you know what?
Is that what?
It's not yet.
There's a tab at the bottom. It's not yet in presentation view. Do you see this tab at the bottom, at your bottom right? It's just after 61%. Can you see that? At your bottom, do you see that number 61%? Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's coming now. Oh no, it's we can't see.
Hello.
Yeah. So do you see 61% somewhere at your bottom left window?
Or she can just click, or you can just click the from current slide up there, close to the menu bar,
From what?
close to where you
From
have.
current slide.
Yes, just click on
Okay.
from current slide if
Are you
that
seeing now?
works. Hold on, it's not coming up.
Can anybody see the screen now?
No, is it full on your end? Or we can just continue. I don't think it really
Yes,
matters.
it's full on my end.
Or we can't see that. So I think you can just continue.
Okay. Or should I go back to the initial process that made all of you to see it then?
No, we are seeing it. We're just talking
Okay, no
of
problem.
presentation view. So do you see where your cursor is right
Oh,
now? 61%. Where your mouse pointer is right now?
okay.
You see that 61%? No, sorry. No, go down, go down. At the bottom, there's 61% at your mouse pointer somewhere. At the bottom left of your
Mm,
window. Bottom right, sorry, bottom right.
I think you're asking her to zoom.
No, no,
okay.
there's presentation view at just before that 61. There's a tab, presentation view.
That's the third button before the
The third
61. No,
button
don't.
before 61. The third button.
Okay. Just hold on because I'm presenting on a full screen, so I wouldn't see. Okay, so there's a 61 here.
Yeah, just before that 61. That button there. Before the 61. Click on that button.
Is it better now?
Click on the button before 61.
Or should I just continue? Maybe later we could get the slide across to every other person.
All right, go on, go on, go on.
Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I can continue, right? So
Yeah, go on,
probably
go on.
later
Yeah,
we could get
yeah.
the slide across to everybody. So sorry about that. So today we'll be looking at understanding and dealing with burnout and anxiety. That's what we'll be concentrating on today. So most times people talk about stress, and nobody really pays attention to burnout. Because if I want to say burnout is the senior brother of stress, right? And a lot of us go through burnout. That moment when you say, I feel overwhelmed, I feel exhausted rather, and then they ask, Why are you really exhausted? Like, I'm mentally exhausted, I'm physically as if I'm just tired. Chances are that you are trekking towards burnout. Now, burnout and anxiety are increasingly common challenges faced by professionals in all industries. It's not a condition that is particular to techies, or a condition that is particular to oil and gas workers, or a condition that is particular to actors and all of that. It is a condition that affects everybody in every industry. It can affect anybody in all industries, rather. Now, this as a result of the fast-paced, high-pressure environments that we work in. Why Ma'am Joy was trying to introduce me, she talked about a lot of persons who juggle between roles, right? And then coupled with constant connectivity and high expectations can lead to significant mental health troubles. Now, usually when we talk about mental health, people don't really understand what it's all about. If I ask now for persons that want to score what is mental health, I know, let me not be too sure, but I know someone is definitely going to mention madness. Now, mental health is beyond disorders. It's beyond walking naked on the streets. It's beyond picking containers and eating junks or dirty things, around the corner. It's beyond shouting. It's beyond a lot of things. Mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life. We call it normal stresses of life because whether you like it or yes, they are normal stresses of life that everyone must go through to be able to live successfully in this life. That you can apply for a job, attend the interview, seek to work on the job, take up roles. All of those things are stressful, but then we might want to call them positive stress because if you don't do them, you won't be able to pay your bills, you're able to sort out a lot of things. So we call them the normal stresses of life. And then for you to be able to say, oh, I'm mentally okay, I'm mentally stable, you have to realize your own ability, your personal ability, what you can do, what you cannot do, what you can take, what you cannot take, the extent to which you can go, the extent to which you cannot go. And then you have to be able to learn well and work well. Most of us that are currently working on the roles that we are working on, we didn't come out knowing how to operate our systems almost perfect, or we didn't come out to know how to work on a particular role perfect. We learned on it. And so you can't say you are mentally stable or okay if you cannot learn well and work well. And then lastly on that, you have to be able to contribute positively to your community. Now I will take this 4 steps again. For you to say you are mentally okay, you have to be able to cope with the normal stresses of life. One, realize or identify your own abilities, your personal abilities. Two, learn well and work well. Three, and then contribute positively to your community. Someone wants to say, I'm not wealthy yet, or I cannot start sponsoring things for my community. Now, when we say community, community is a simple unit as your family. Community is a simple unit as person staying in your compound. Community is a simple unit as your co-workers. So how do you influence, how do you contribute to that, your little communities? Do you steal from them? Do you make noise? Anything that is contrary to adding wellness or goodness to that community is you impacting that community negatively. Now, mental health is an integral component of health, or rather say it is a human right. Mental health is a human right, yes, because it underpins our individual and collective abilities to make decisions, build relationships, and shape the world we live in. Remember, we talked about contributing positively to our communities. So, if the world we live in, we keep impacting it negatively, so who's going to live in the world with all of us? Mental health is a basic human right. I've mentioned that. And it is crucial to personal, community, and social economic development. So while we are shouting malaria and neglecting mental health, can we now see the essence to which we need to have conversations about mental health? Because mental health is our day-to-day life, is our day-to-day health, is our week-to-week health, is our month-to-month health, because it revolves clearly around how we're able to make decisions, build relationships, and most importantly, shape the world we live in. And yes, I've mentioned that mental health is not just the absence of a mental disorder. Same way, physical health is not just the absence of any ailments. And then when we talk about artificial intelligence, because when Mam Joy was trying to introduce, said AI and mental health. Of course, when we talk about artificial intelligence, I think it should be the ones teaching me right now. So artificial intelligence is simply a branch of computer science that uses computation model to perform tasks that previously required human intelligence. However, you agree with me that even in the use of AI and all of the machines, we still need touches of human intelligence for them to work accurately and appropriately. Now, what is burnout and anxiety? Let's come back to mental health and leave the whole machine language. Burnout is a state of chronic physical and emotional exhaustion. Let's take it again. Burnout is a state of chronic physical and emotional exhaustion, often resulting from prolonged levels of stress or overwork. So you want to ask, so why would somebody end up being burnt out? Aside from it being a physical, mental, emotional exhaustion, it's as a result of prolonged levels of stress or overwork. It is characterized by feelings of cynicism, detachment, and a sense of reduced accomplishment. Now, I'm actually highlighting all of this so we could note where we've actually felt burnout at some point in our lives in the course of our work. At that point where you feel like you're not accomplishing so much, at that point where you feel detached from work, at that point where you feel overwhelmed, you were exhausted, you feel so strained, like nobody's really understanding how you feel, but then you feel overwhelmed, you need a break, you might want to check it. And then to anxiety. Anxiety is a mental health
Sorry,
condition that
sorry to cut you off. So sorry to
okay,
cut
can you
you
hear
off.
me?
I just wanted to know if you're flowing with your slide because we're still at the first slide, just to confirm.
Oh, I'm flowing with my slide.
Oh, we are still stuck on the first slide.
Oh, really? Could it be
Yeah.
Sava?
Probably. Or you just try to move it. I think you have to click when you move to the next slide for us to see. I don't know.
I have to click what?
I think you have to
Sorry,
click
Mom
on the
Joy, please
next
come again.
slide. Yeah, like maybe you click on slide two, just like how you clicked to get this first one. Maybe you click on the sidebar,
Oh,
the next
really?
slide. Yeah.
Okay. So where are you now? Are you on burnout and anxiety?
Yes, yes.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Okay. So sorry about all of this. I'll just get the slide across to all of us so we could continue. So is it changed at your end now to burnout and anxiety?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, so we'll just stick to that. So I was talking about anxiety. Sorry about all of those slide issue and all of that. So anxiety is a mental health condition that involves excessive worry, nervousness, or fear about everyday situations. Now, someone reached out to me once and said, please, ma, what's low key anxiety? Now, it is important to note that all of us at some point get anxious. For example, if you're going for an interview, maybe an interview in a new job you just applied for or something, there's this feeling of anxiety that, oh, what do I present? What do I say? How do I dress? What if I don't speak well? Just you're trying to wrap your head around everything that is going to happen because you are just in the present and you don't know what is going to happen in the next 30 minutes to 1 hour. And then you ask me, does that mean I have an anxiety disorder? No, that doesn't mean you have an anxiety disorder. Because first, how do we categorize disorders? For you to say I have a disorder, that means that particular feeling of yours have been able to influence your day-to-day functioning. Every area of your life you're worrying, I mean, at least for 2 weeks. So you can't wake up today that it's Saturday and then Sunday. So I feel like I have anxiety disorder. No, you can't say that. We have to be able to be sure that, oh, for 2 weeks and more, this anxiety has been impacting your day-to-day functioning. You can't even lift a foot, you can't lift an arm, you don't want to take your bath, you don't want to even dress up, you don't want to press your clothes, you don't want to go out, you don't even want to show up in the interview because you are so stuck in not knowing what is going to happen in the next minute. Are we getting the difference now? Now, anxiety can stem from tight deadlines, performance pressures, or the need to constantly keep up with rapid technological changes. Let's say for persons that are developers, day to day things keep changing. I know some years back there was nothing like a Web3. I'm not a techie, so I wouldn't know so much about that. And then now we have Web3. So I know things keep changing over time. And then your company wants you to work on the new stuff that are changing. So you have to meet up, you have to keep up, you have to meet up with deadlines, you have to perform excellently well. So if they're laying people off, they are not going to lay you off and all of that. So all of this put together leads to anxiety. And if not watched, can lead to anxiety disorder. Now, how do we recognize the signs and symptoms of burnout? We've talked about burnout. We've said that it's a condition that arises from prolonged levels of stress and overwork. And then it's a chronic physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion, right? So, how do we recognize the signs and symptoms? Ma'am Joy, please confirm you can see recognizing the signs and symptoms of burnout.
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, so we group these symptoms into five: physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, behavioral changes, cognitive symptoms, and performance issues. When we talk about performance issues, we talk about how burnout affects or impacts your work life, right? So now, what are the physical symptoms of burnout? How can someone say, "Oh, I think I'm burnt out," or if someone, your friend is or a colleague is complaining to you, like, "Oh, I think you need to take a break. I think you are going through burnout." The first physical symptom of burnout is persistent fatigue. When I started, I mentioned that sometimes you are so tired and fatigued that if someone is saying, "What's the problem?" you can't lay hold of what your problem is exactly. You are overwhelmed, you are exhausted, you are tired, you're fatigued, but you can't really point what the problem is. So you're fatigued on Sunday, you're fatigued on Monday, you're fatigued on Tuesday, you're fatigued on Wednesday, even when there is a public holiday in between, you're still fatigued after the public holiday. It's a pointer that you're going through burnout. Having sleep disturbances, either too many sleep, too much sleep, or less sleep, right? Having headaches, consistent headaches, muscle tension, or frequent colds are physical symptoms of burnout. The emotional symptoms of burnout is increased irritability. Increased irritability, things that usually won't get to you, but they are getting to you now. Let's say if you're someone that okay, let's say you're a hybrid worker, you're not a remote worker, you're not a complete remote worker. So you show up in the office and someone mistakenly steps on your toe or cracks you. And to be sincere, the person actually said, "Oh, please, I'm sorry. I didn't intend to do that." But then you realize that the anger outburst was on another level. Like, can't you see? Am I too small that you cannot see my feet and all of that? And when you can actually point that, "Oh, I'm actually being irritated at the moment," is when you sit back and then you begin to think, "But why did I talk to him like that? Why did I talk to her like that? Was it really necessary? Was I being too dramatic?" And then you feel you need to go back and apologize. You have increased irritability, is an emotional symptom. I just cited an example. It could present itself in different forms. You have anxiety. I've mentioned that anxiety is increased, persistent or intense fear or worry. A sense of dread about work. You gradually start having this like what I call it, how which word now should I use? Having a sense of dread about your work. You no longer care about it. They should just be doing their thing. I will be fine. When I wake up, I'll complete my own tasks and all of that. Lots of motivation. Lots of motivation. Yes, you're no longer motivated. We're going to look at the stages of burnout so you understand all of this as we progress. Behavioral changes of burnout: withdrawal from social interactions. Withdrawal from social interactions. Let's tell people that anytime you feel like you need to withdraw from people, that's when you need people the most, because that's the fastest route to depression. Anytime you just sit down and feel like, "I want to delete my Snapchat, I want to delete my WhatsApp, I want to delete my Facebook, I want to delete my LinkedIn, I want to delete my Twitter, I want to delete my Instagram. Nobody should call me. I don't want to take any call. My phone should be on DND. Nobody should talk to me. Oh, nobody should even greet me." Trying to withdraw from social interactions and all of that. That's when you need it more, because you're on a fast lane to depression. Another behavioral symptom of burnout is procrastination, avoidance of responsibilities. Neglect of self-care routines. People always tell me that, oh, my friend used to be or my friend was depressed and then completed suicide, but we never knew my friend was depressed. And I would say it's just that you were looking for more medical and clinical symptoms than the ones that are before you. Because if I have a friend that is almost an ironing freak, let me use that word. So the friend irons a t-shirt, irons a round neck polo, irons anything ironable. And then in the space of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month down the line, this person no longer cares. Even though they don't, maybe the person too is scent freak. The person has something for scent. So they have like 4 or 5 perfumes. And the person no longer cares about spraying any of them. The person no longer presses his or clothes. The person just pick up the clothes and wear and then go out. Even when the person seems to be smiling so much, is a cause for concern that this person that you know so well presses their clothes, spray their perfumes, brushes their hair, and all of that, are behaving this way. Because you might think it's just normal, but then something is really going underneath that is causing them to no longer care about their self care routines or neglect it. Cognitive symptoms of burnout. One of the cognitive symptoms of burnout is difficulty concentrating on your task, or even in meetings, forgetfulness, indecisiveness, or a negative outlook on work and personal life. So you just have a negative outlook. The one time happy you, the one time excited you, now nothing be the thing, nothing did this life, and all of that. You start having negative outlook on your work and your personal life. Now, performance issues, decline in productivity, you start missing deadlines, you lack creativity. Now, this is you that when you went for your interview and then they employed you into the role, you met your co-workers, and when you people were sharing ideas during one of the brainstorming sessions, you were the best. In fact, if they capitalize on that brainstorming session, they'll promote you by two cadre or two steps. But then it's 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 1 year down the line in work, and then you're no longer popping up anything. We're in a brainstorming session, you don't have anything to say. You have some tasks to help a project, you cannot deliver on your tasks. But this is you that was everybody's favorite because you were doing exceptionally well. Now it's a call for you to watch it because you are actually dealing with burnout. The next is recognizing the signs and symptoms of anxiety. Remember, we are dealing with burnout and anxiety almost, okay, the same time. We're going to be looking at these symptoms in 4 areas: physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, behavioral changes, and cognitive symptoms. Now, note the difference between the symptoms in burnout and symptoms of anxiety, and then note how they are closely related to each other. On the physical symptoms of anxiety, we have a rapid heartbeat. Rapid heartbeat. I think everybody basically have experienced this one. Rapid heart, sweating profusely, trembling. Some people literally tremble, like fidgets, restlessness, or gastrointestinal problems. Gastrointestinal problems are just stomach problems. So you immediately feel like you're pressed. You immediately feel like you want to use the restroom. You want to pee. You immediately start feeling like you want to use the toilets. Everything in your system just start changing almost immediately. That's a symptom of anxiety, physical symptom. Another symptom of anxiety under emotional symptoms is persistent worry, nervousness, fear, or a sense of impending doom. You're always worrying about stuff, even when the day is not. Let's say you have something to do on Thursday and today is Saturday, and so it's not even close to Monday, but the so creeping you that you can't do any other thing. You can't do any other thing. Even in your worry, you cannot even provide the solution. That's where the problem lies now. Nervousness, fear. You have a sense of impending doom that something is definitely going to go wrong. That's a sign that you're dealing with anxiety. Behavioral changes. Under behavioral changes, we have avoidance of work related tasks, excessive checking or rereading of emails, trying to be a perfectionist, trying to be a perfection. You want it perfect, and then you know what goes wrong where you want things to always be perfect, particularly if you're working with a group, because everybody cannot be you. That's to say, it cannot be as perfect as you want it to look from your own perspective. And then having heightened startled response. You're always on hyper arousal mood, hyperactivity mood. You're always hyper aroused. And sometimes too, you don't know what someone is just asking you a question and then you are moping. Yeah. The next is cognitive symptoms. Under cognitive symptoms, we have overthinking, difficulty focusing, having racing thoughts. If you will agree with me, a lot of us have experienced most of these symptoms I've mentioned about. Just maybe you had a way to deal with it and then you were just fine, right? The next is understanding the stages of burn. I said we are going to come to this, and so we'll look at it and know why you started as one of the best creative in January, and then it's not yet December, it's just October. I know we're in September, but then it's just October and nobody is saying creativity anymore. So how do we get to this point? So, oh, I'm actually burnout. There are different stages for you to say, oh, at this point, I think I'm dealing with burnout. We have the honeymoon phase, we have the onset of stress, we have the chronic stress, we have the burnout, and then we have what we call habitual burnout. Ma'am Joy, please confirm you are on the same slide with me.
Yeah, yes, I am.
Okay, so understanding the stages of burnout. The honeymoon phase, the same way you hear honeymoon when someone gets married, say, oh, we are going for our honeymoon in Zanzibar, we are going for our honeymoon in the Maldives, you're going for a honeymoon. That's the same thing that happens because when you've been applying for several jobs, different roles, and then you finally get it, there's this excitement that comes with you getting a job. No matter how useless the job is, there's this excitement that comes with, oh, finally, I got this job. I passed the interview, and then here am I now working with them. So now, so this work be. I believe all of us here are Nigerians, but if you're not Nigerians, you have to get used to me putting pigeons in between the conversation. So this the characteristics of this honeymoon phase is high energy, enthusiasm, commitment to work. You are very committed. In fact, you can work on your own role, and work for Joseph's role. You can work your own role, Joseph's role, and even Peter's role. So at this point in this life, you're very committed, you are highly productive and positive, and then you want more tasks and responsibilities. So somebody calls you, hello Joy, I think you the last time we brainstormed, you said this, I think you can do this, oh bring. And then someone else comes and say, oh, I heard you can do, okay, bring. Oh, can you deliver this in 30 minutes? Bring. And so, because of the excitement, you are just taking and loading yourself with too many tasks and responsibilities. The energy is there. You're delivering on deadlines. Everybody likes you because you're always covering up for them. It is normal. Honeymoon phase. And then we move to the next stage of burnout, onset of stress. At this stage, stress begins to build as the demands of work increase. As the demands of work increase, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, everybody has stopped petting you. You're no longer a new colleague. You're now part of the system. So everybody is willing to start shouting at you, dragging you. Stress begins to build as the demands of work increase. Individuals may start to feel overwhelmed or unable to meet expectations. Now, before I continue, let me clearly inform us that all of this conversation is for education purposes and not for diagnosis. And then, secondly, it is important to note that most of all of this we are discussing might not be arising from work related concerns. They might be from family pressures, they might be from academic pressures, they might be from juggling different roles. It might not always be 100% from your current workplace. I thought to clarify that. So you don't think your work is the onset of your problem. It might be from your family background, it might be from going back home, and then you have a lot to complete. So the work is just the place people see your productivity. So they can easily point out that, oh, your productivity level is dropping. I believe I'm making sense. Please, someone should confirm they can hear me so I know when I get lost at some point. And then the next stage on the stages of burnout is called chronic stress, the chronic stress stage. Now, at this stage, stress becomes more persistent and begins to affect your daily functioning. You start experiencing frequent stress response such as frustration or anger. At this chronic stress stage, you start experiencing frequent stress response. What are the stress response? Frustration, anger. You feel frustrated, you're easily angered. So you from time to time have anger outbursts, and it start affecting your day-to-day activity, your day-to-day functioning. And sometimes people can literally just point out that, oh, you look so stressed. And then the fourth stage of burnout is called burnout. The fourth stage of burnout is called burnout. Now, we've already highlighted that burnout is an emotional, physical, or mental exhaustion, right? And so it is characterized by feeling detached or disconnected from one's work or one's work colleague, right? And then you have a reduced sense of personal accomplishment. I have mentioned before that all of these burnout experiences might not be completely related to work. It could be through academics, family pressure, and a physical ailment you're dealing with, and all of that. So, however, where we can easily point out that, oh, we notice that you are going through this or that, it's because it is beginning to affect your productivity. And where can people see your productivity? In your workplace, except you have other areas that you put in your work excellence or work ethics, you display some kind of professionalism, then people can say, okay, here we notice that you're depreciating in creativity and the likes. Then lastly, on the stages of burnout is habitual burnout. Habitual burnout, at this point, burnout becomes a normal state to you. To you, it's a normal state. So in January, you're overwhelmed, you're exhausted. In February, you're overwhelmed, you're exhausted. In March, you're overwhelmed, you're exhausted. Significantly affecting your mental, physical, and emotional health. You start having psychosomatic illnesses. Psychosomatic illnesses are illnesses that arise from mental health conditions, but then it's diagnosable in physical health sectors. Now, example of this is we had a client who claimed he had HIV and AIDS, but he doesn't have HIV and AIDS. Yes. He has gone to three different hospitals, and yes, the result keeps coming out negative that he doesn't have HIV and AIDS. However, day to day, he keeps seeing reasons why he should believe he has HIV and AIDS, because he has Googled all the symptoms of HIV and AIDS, and then it keeps showing on him that I am getting lean every day. I have rashes. I have this. So why are you telling me I don't have HIV? Are these not the symptoms of HIV I'm seeing and all of that? So yes, some of those things are psychosomatic symptoms. And then if you go to the hospital, because you have those symptoms already presenting itself from your mind, they have to tell you, okay, please go and do this test, do that test, do that test, do this. And until those test results are out, nobody can really rule out that you do not have a physical health condition. Sometimes it's the way we lose weight, some is increased weight, because we've come to realize that a lot of persons who are even going through stress sometimes don't look like they are thin. They are not thin per se, they are not slim, they are not reducing in size. Instead, they are bloating. So it takes someone that understands Sarah to actually tell that, oh, this person is not reducing in size, but they are adding, but deeply stress is killing them. Now, on the next, we have strategies to deal with burnout and anxiety. Strategies to deal with burnout and anxiety. All of these strategies that will be listed here are strategies that we can have in our, we can include it in our day-to-day activities, our month-to-month activities. It's not something that is far-fetched. It's not something that you have to, order from Amazon. It's something that we have to intentionally work on. So one of those strategies to deal with such strategies to deal with burnout and anxiety is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. I've said it like how many times? Setting boundaries. Set clear boundaries between work and personal life. Now it is important that we we um we mark this word balance. Now we've been campaigning for work-life integration, not work-life balance, because sometimes it looks like you cannot really balance this whole thing. But why work-life integration? If you go to some establishments, you realize that there's now crèche, They now have a section for crèche. So that's for mothers that are breastfeeding, that are still having little babies. When you come to your workplace, you just drop the baby at the crèche session, knowing that the crèche is in your workplace. So you don't have to be worried, oh, my baby should be crying, my baby is doing this, my baby is doing that. They have workers who take care of these children still in your workplace. Are we getting it? That's how people are beginning to integrate mental health concerns and then integrate other areas of people's life into it. So it is important that you set clear boundaries between work and personal life. I think I deviated a little. So set clear boundary between work and personal life. This includes defining working hours, taking regular breaks, and avoiding the temptation to check emails or messages after work hours. I have a friend who the husband would say, if you bring work to my bedroom, I will seize your system. Because even when we talk about sleep disorders, we categorically state that your bed is meant for two things: sleep and sex. Okay, all of us are adults now. So even when we talk about sleep disorder, person trying to treat sleep disorder as a sleep problem, we highlight it that your bed is meant for sleep and sex. Any other thing on the bed should not be on the bed. Are we getting it? So when you're trying to set clear boundaries, know when to keep your system on your work desk and when to bring it to the bed. Know when to attend to work and when to attend to yourself. A lot of persons have leave in between working periods, but they don't utilize the leave. They just work like, I don't know what particular kind of problem is that, but I know some persons usually have leaves but they don't use it. And then the next is prioritize self-care. In all of my explanations, I'll be explaining all of the strategies in between. So you pick the ones you can, and then when I send the slide, you can sit down and really understand each of them. Prioritize self-care. Exercise. When we shout people should exercise, we are not saying go and build muscles alone, even though yes, of course, in the course of your exercise you're going to tone your muscles. People are going to see, oh, certain muscular features are beginning to be pronounced and all of that. But when we shout exercise, it's not just about six packs. It's not about people that have, you know, fat to reduce. We see slim people in the gym. I used to go to the gym and said someone was like, how for gym? You never even get body. I mean, at your head, you they work out. I say, yes, so now my head that they work out. It's where my head too plenty. So I they work out the many things reduce, and also exercise, because exercise helps us release feel good hormones, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, and all of that. It helps us reduce secrete those hormones. Eat, consume balanced diets, take adequate sleep. Sleep cannot be overemphasized or even underemphasized because it is very important. Sleep help you detox your brain from the day's events or activities. For example, if I ask you here if you've ever been depressed, you will agree that no matter how depressed you are, if you sleep for 1 hour, that period of 1 hour you'll be sleeping plus about 5 minutes when you wake up, you won't remember your problems. It can only occur after 5 minutes. You've gone to the restroom, you are back, you sat down, you picked your phone, and then you start remembering, your brain start rewiring that, oh, I've been there depressed yesterday, so make I continue depression today. Are you getting it? So, but then that period you're sleeping, the brain is detoxing itself from the day's problems, day's activities, the day's troubles. Brother and sister, please debunk that myth. It's actually a myth. Because all the people that claim they don't sleep and they are wealthy, you don't stay in the same house with them to even know that if they are lying or they are saying the truth. So devise means to take your sleep as a priority. The kind of food you eat, I've talked about exercise, the kind of food you consume, adequate sleep, significantly reduce symptoms of burnout and anxiety. As I've mentioned, that sleep, engage in activities that you enjoy and that help you relax, such as hobbies. If you like reading, you read. If you like playing games, you play. If you like spending time with your loved ones, fine. So engage in activities that you enjoy, relax. The next strategy is mindfulness and relaxation techniques. Deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation can help reduce stress and anxiety. These practices encourage individuals to focus on the present moment. When we say mindfulness, that's what we mean. Be in the present. It has proven to be very effective in anxiety treatment over time. Because if you check, most of the things we are anxious about are things that are not with us at the moment. Most of the things that we are anxious about are things that are not in the present. It's always things that are in the future. Oh, what will I be tomorrow? How will I become a millionaire tomorrow? How will I? Too many things. Check most of them. They are not things in the present. They are things that are in the future. And this future can be few seconds away, few months away, 1 year away. And the worst of it, that persons will sit down to think 25 years. I don't know if they are planning to move in time or something. And then time management skills, very important. Very important. Prioritize your tasks, break large projects into manageable steps, and use tools like to-do list and time blocking apps to stay organized. So try to manage your time, break large projects into manageable steps. If possible, bring other people into the project so you don't have too much on your hand to cover, right? The next is, how do we leverage on technology to manage mental health concerns, particularly this one we are talking about today, burnout and anxiety. A lot of us use smartwatches, and then we know there are smartwatches that are set to remind us when to take water, when to take a walk, when to stretch, and all of that. Now, these things are not replacing your efforts in managing your mental health. They're only helping to prompt you, to remind you of when you need to take these steps. Because sometimes we can be so overwhelmed and choked up with work that we might not remember that we're supposed to take water, we're supposed to stand up, we're not supposed to embrace sedentary lifestyle, we're supposed to take a walk, we're supposed to go and eat, we're supposed to blink, we're supposed to turn off our screen and observe almost no screen time and all of that. So how do we leverage this technology? All of this I've mentioned, it should be a pointer on how we can leverage this. Setting personalized alerts and reminders. Most of us use if everybody currently uses a smartphone. Let me not even talk about smartwatches. And what is the use of alarm if you're not using it? What is the use of setting reminders if you're not setting reminders? So some of these reminder suggestions can be: it's time for meditation. It's time to take a walk. It's time to put your mobile phone down. It's time to stand up from your working desk. It's time to stretch. It's time to a lot of reminders to help you checkmate and manage mental health practices. And then if you would also agree with me, for people that are social media savvy, you realize that if you search for a particular thing twice or thrice on Google or even on Instagram or Facebook and all of that, give it time. 2 days, 3 days down the line, the algorithm of social media, Instagram to be precise, will keep showing you that thing over and over and over and over again. Now, how do they know? Somebody will say, this Instagram, they read my mind, though. It sounds like it, because they bring out those things for you, following your social media activity, your search history, and your inputs on wearable devices or even your phone. I knew when I was trying to prepare for Abuja art therapy, I was looking for places I could rent easels, buy canvases, and for the next 1 month, Instagram took it as a duty to show me all the art stations in Abuja. I even got tired of seeing them, because most of the things I wanted to see, I was no longer seeing. So it's either someone is doing a paint and sip here, Instagram will show me, or someone is giving an offer here, Instagram will show me. So yes, all of these things are possible. Good enough now in the Western world and even in Nigeria, because it's coming in, even in physical health. You hear things that, oh, if you wear this thing, it will tell you when your BP is going up and when your BP is coming down. If you do this, and all of those things are technology, and we need to leverage them in also managing our mental health. I've mentioned one way is setting personalized alerts, and then joining virtual support groups. I don't know what the GDG cloud team, what they do after webinars, but virtual support groups, what do? They just pair people according to their experiences and communicate in online groups. And so let's say you are having drug, maybe a drug related problem. And then you have three other colleagues from different stations having, we just put you in one group. Even in group counseling, we observe that. So now the technology part of it is, instead of me being your group counseling moderator, we set up an AI to man that, the robots to man that for us. So we set everything in place. More like, of course, some persons use chat bots or boots, whatever you want to call it. And so it's automated. 5 o'clock, we're having a group virtual session. By 5 o'clock, it beeps everybody. Everybody comes online. This person talks, this one talks, this one talks. You share your concern, you share warm embrace, and then you go. You leverage on technology. You mustn't meet in one place. Even though, of course, technology does not automatically rule out human influence and human connections, right? And so the next we have here, for particular persons, I think all of us would learn, to our founders or our bosses, we might as well need to. So this area is for founders, co-founders, startup founders, and all of that. How do you create a healthy work environment? You want people to work with you, either on a, in fact, if you have a project you're working on and then you want people to work with you on that project, this is something you should pay attention to. You are a founder or a co-founder or you're a startup founder, and then somehow you're going to employ 1, 2, 3 staff members. There's something you should look out for. Because if you have a healthy work environment, you prioritize people's well-being, physical and mental well-being, it is a criteria that will help you retain talents regardless of how much you're paying. It's one area that can help you retain talents. A lot of you will agree with me, for people that have worked with big firms or even small firms. You can think about it, that someone might be paying you 10,000, but they prioritize your physical and mental health more than someone that is paying you 1 million. Sometimes like, oh, I beg, for my mental health sake, let me leave that 10 million and come and do 10,000. In as much as, oh, we really want to get the money. But then beyond the money, what happens to your mind? Do you turn out to be a millionaire and then you're a problem to the society or a problem to your family? So creating a healthy work environment. Number one, promote open communication. Foster an environment where employees feel comfortable discussing mental health issues without stigma. Why most persons die in silence, if you want to use that word, is because the stigma surrounding mental health in this part of the globe it's unbearable. So if I say I'm having a mental health condition, maybe paranoia or depression, or I'm having suicidal ideation, everybody begins to cast and bind. I'm not saying you should not cast and bind if you're a religious person. Of course, I'm a Christian too, but we have to encourage people to talk. Because if they don't talk, you won't know. And so if you know that when they talk, you use it against them. So what's the essence of them talking? So promote open communication. People should be comfortable talking about mental health around you. Like I said, all mental health conditions might not be stemming from the place of work. It could be stemming from the place of different things. Sadly, even the remote work is now affecting us, because I might have Joy on my team working remotely and she's having a relationship problem. I'm not saying please, I don't know how, and she doesn't know me. I'm not saying she has a relationship. I'm just citing an example. I might have someone on my team that is working remotely and is having going through serious domestic violence and abuse. And I wouldn't know except she opens up. And so if she opens up, and I will use it in our next general meeting. So what's the essence of she opening up? And domestic violence can impact her work productivity, her creativity, and all of that in your workplace. So whatever problem that comes from home automatically becomes a work problem. The next way you can create a healthy work environment is having flexible work arrangements. Offer flexible work hours, remote work options, or the ability to take mental health days. There are many establishments now that have mental health hours. They tell you, okay, everybody stand up from your desks, involve yourself in this game or that game or something to keep you away from the entire hurdles and bustles of work. People now have mental health days. So you can choose. Let's say maybe the mental health days are Tuesdays and Thursdays. Maybe that day you'll not show up at work. So you choose one of the days, because everybody cannot decide to take mental health days for the 2 days. All of these things revolve around balancing it. So you don't suffer loss and the individual working for you don't suffer loss as well. So having mental health days can significantly alleviate stress and help employees manage their workload better. Like I said, everybody needs this, including founders, co-founders, startup founders, project team leads, and all everybody that is in leadership. And you can as well recommend them to your bosses and your founders to take a look at. 3, recognition and reward. Everybody loves appraisals. Everybody loves reward. Everybody loves when you recognize their good work. So you should incorporate recognizing people's efforts, giving them the rewards that are due them. The same way you give them query and shout at them for not showing up early or completing their tasks, or using maroon when you told them to use red, for those of you that are graphic designers. So it's but the same way you say, "Ah, I told you the logo should be in the middle, but now you're putting it by the left and even the L has fallen off." The same way you should reward them, say good things of them, recognize them, say, "Oh, you've done well," when they do the job very well. And then the fourth thing there is provide access to resources. We have many organizations that are offering employee assistance programs now. Oh, my work is okay. I'm just a startup organization. I don't have so much. I just have 9 staff, and then we are not having so much profit already, and all of that. It is fine. There's understanding. So you cannot pay counselors to have that assistant program for you. Create time for mental health workshops. Create time for mental health workshops. Everybody becomes, of course, there's what we call occupational counseling. Everybody automatically becomes an occupational counselor, because as a manager you have to have the skills. As assistant manager, you need to have the skills. You need to be able to recognize when your staff is not doing well and know how to help, at least the immediate assistance, the mental health first aid, before you need a professional. Because if you can intervene in little situations, then it won't the situation won't escalate before it's been handled. And then at least you know when to refer to a professional and when you can give the person a break. I'm believing I'm making sense. I'm beginning to round up. Okay, just a few more. Now, exposure therapy and AI integration. We've asked, how do we use AI to help our mental health, to manage our mental health? I mentioned one way. All of us have smartwatches. These smartwatches can be automated to remind us to do certain things, right? I mentioned joining virtual groups. Now, VR, virtual reality. Okay, let me define what exposure therapy is all about. Exposure therapy is just me introducing you to, assuming I'm your therapist, I'm introducing you to things that you are so scared of. And then what do we use this therapy process for? Mostly for PTSD, post-traumatic stress. So that people that have social anxiety, people that have phobias, people that have seasonal affective disorders, they use all of this. We introduce exposure therapy for them. There are persons that cannot cross, for those of us that are in Port Harcourt, they cannot cross the Ikore Road without somebody assisting them. Now, it's not because they are behaving like a child. It's their tendencies that they experienced an accident that happened on that road, or a road that looks like that road. It might not be them, the accident might not be for them, but then there's something we call vicarious trauma. So it's not the thing did not happen to you, but then you witnessed it or you heard about it. It happens. Accident is just one. People that have been victims of rape, people that have been victims of robbery attack, a lot of it. So they don't even want to see scenes that depict those scenes, that those things happened. So yes, going through PTSD, social anxiety, and phobia, specific phobias. They're scared of course everybody is scared of snake, but then there are some persons that their phobia is on the extreme. It's really, really on the extreme, that even if you tell them Jesus is on the other end, they will say Jesus should go, me, I will remain here, you know. So exposure therapy helps them to deal with that, because you gradually, it is actually done under supervision. So you don't end up killing the person in the process of helping the person. So you now ask me, where does AI come into all of this picture? Virtual reality. When we go for tech events, there's a booth for virtual reality. People go there and You videos of people, they are screaming and jumping and turning. They can even pull out the um the instrument and smash it on the ground because of. Now, yes, it happens. They are seeing things that they are not conversant with, or that is making them so scared. But yes, currently the use of virtual reality instruments have been introduced into mental health treatments, exposure therapy particularly, because these things can be set. We have sessions, realized sessions for people. Oh, you're dealing with so and so phobia. You're dealing with social anxiety. Okay, now we are going to create a scene that will have a lot of people with you in it. So you have to go and interact with them. So, like I said, this have to be under supervision, because the main reason of it is just to make you feel relaxed with your phobia, not to kill you or make you become extremely fearful. I think I've dwelt so much on that. The next is AI in teletherapy. AI in teletherapy. Teletherapy is just simply therapy that is done via phone, via screens, anything that you're not seeing the any form of therapy that you're not seeing the person. So you're either connected via Zoom, Meet, Clubhouse, or anything that is just you're on the other side of the screen, I'm on this side of the screen, and then you're not seeing me. You can be regarded as teletherapy. And I know there are a lot of techies that are working with startups that are health related, that yes, so they'll be like, okay, you can book counseling sessions, you can book therapy sessions, you can book active listening sessions and all of that. Yes, I know of all of that. And so this will not be possible if we are not using these systems. If we don't have our laptops on, we don't have our phones on, we don't have certain things in place, we don't have chatbots that can even interact with people. Oh, these are automations that once I log into your app to take me to this, take me to that, to connect me to an assistant, to connect me to a counselor. All of these things cannot be in place if we don't have AI. Yes. So AI is also enhancing teletherapy by improving quality and accessibility of online mental health services, virtual support groups, automated tools by which users can be paired according to their experiences and can communicate in online groups. Finally, prioritizing mental well-being. Burnout and anxiety are prevalent. We cannot rule it off. It happens no matter your industry. Even in the health industry, doctors experience burnout, counselors experience burnout. We have what we call professional burnout. We just categorize and call it professional burnout, because this burnout is arising from your work, particularly how you help people, how you relate to people in your workplace. Why I'm mentioning this help and relate is for doctors, medical practitioners. Yes. However, they are manageable with the right strategies and support. I've mentioned a few of the straight rundown later. Empower yourself. It is now your responsibility to empower yourself with the tools and knowledge to recognize the early signs of burnout and anxiety, implement the said coping strategies, and create a healthier work life integration. I've talked about work life integration by fostering a culture that prioritizes mental well being. It is first your duty before your boss's duty. So, with these few points of mine, I hope I've not been talking to myself, but then I've been able to, make inputs, give suggestions, help us with the right strategies on how to manage burnout and deal with anxiety. Thank you very much. So I'll be open to questions and we'll give answers to them together. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the session, Comfort. I really appreciate it, and I took a whole lot from the session. But before I even speak, I want us in the listener session, if you have like a question, please just drop it, or you can request to speak. I think there's a way you can request to be a presenter. If you want, if you prefer speaking. So we'll just give like 3 minutes for that. I'm sure we have like questions, or if you want to share your experience, that would be much better. Okay, we have someone in the comment. Oh, okay. So patient said, I'm glad I joined because I tend to stress myself out a lot. Yeah, same here. I can relate. I can relate. Oh my god. It's been so it's always so hectic, to be honest. And then I think I could relate more when when Comfort mentioned something about you're being burnt out, and someone is just like, "What's wrong with you?" And you're like, "You don't know you're burnt out," and then you can't even place like a genuine reason or pinpoint why exactly you're burnt out or why you're feeling the way you're feeling. I think that has been me for like some time now, and it's not like I have too much work to do, but I'm just tired. Like I'm literally just tired of doing a whole lot. So okay. Mr. Philip, you came back up. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's thank you, Comfort. Just come up. I'm trying to relate with some part of what you said, especially with regards to bringing work home and stuff like that. So I could be sometimes I would say, okay, I'm taking off today, and the email comes in and you hear the sound, and you just know that this is important. And even if I'll just tell myself, wait, so even if I don't respond to this now, I will still respond to it in the office, right? So what is stopping me from responding to this email now? Like, I don't know. So it's, well, at the same time I just see myself still working even at home, trying to respond to emails, trying to, you know, just trying to do stuff, you know. But it's a kind of it's a very interesting session. And at that point you'll be like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, you've taken off day, but see you're still responding to emails. And some will tell you, just don't worry, just off your laptop, off your, but immediately you're hearing that sound, you're looking at your phone, you're seeing, oh, this is important, just have to. I think it's something we just have to be conscious about anyway. mm. And then please, if you have questions, please, just ask. We want people to share the experience or say something, or request to speak, please.
Okay, can I say something, please? Joy, can I go ahead?
Sure, sure, sure. You can.
Okay. So, with regards to what Comfort and Mr. Philip has said, I think sometimes to most of these things comes from maybe the place where we work, right? So I know Comfort mentioned work life balance, but then sometimes the nature of where we work here in Nigeria, kind of give you this impression that if you don't show yourself, if you don't do this work, just know that there's somebody outside there that is ready to take a pay cut to do your job. So it makes you want to be, a reliable person. Let's say your boss might send you a message out of work, and he or she knows that, obviously he's going to reply. He's going to reply even if it's not, let's say, weekend. Yeah, but we know that actually outside work I'm supposed to be doing something else, but then we want to reply to that message. I'm just saying in the context of workplace and in this region where we find ourselves, where if you say you don't want to do that, then you might come off as you are being arrogant, you are being a certain way, and that they can always replace you. So I think while we're trying to educate ourselves about mental health, it should also be something that our organizations should also prioritize so that they get the best out of um, the staffs and members of the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Dove. Oh, someone dropped a comment. So I'm just starting out with the tech space, but it's fun though. And yes, a fascinating presentation. Good one. Oh, thank you so much. I'm also saying thank you on behalf of the speaker as well, because it was amazing. I think okay, I'm not going to go into this. I wanted to bring about depression. I feel like most people in tech, in a way, I think I was having a conversation with someone, and then they were like, they don't think a certain person was burnt out in a way. That's that feeling where something is wrong, but you don't know what is wrong, and you just feel unnecessarily sad. So I was having a conversation with this person, and then they were like, they feel like they're depressed. So I want to know, like this question is for the speaker. Yeah, I want to know, when you get into that state, doesn't necessarily mean you're depressed or you're just, should I say, sad for nothing. I don't know if this makes sense. If you really don't understand, please just let me know, so I know
Okay,
how to.
so let me say from what I got from your question. Now, I was going to mention, thank you for bringing this up. I was going to mention that it is important that you work in spaces that people can relate to what you are going through, because everybody wants to be in tech, but nobody knows what is in tech. I don't know if you get my point. So yes, there was a time, I think 2 years back, everybody wanted to be in tech. Oh, tech is blood money. Tech is this. Everybody wants to. Yes, the money is there, but do you realize that if you are a going out person, but then you have to sit in front of your system for hours, that it begins to affect you? It's actually a lot. It's really, really a lot. So it takes persons that understand what you're going through to be actually able to hold your hand and say, "Oh, I get, bro. We are in this together. This is how okay. Somehow they do me. People can share concerns and then encourage one another and move on the job, right? So on depression, um there are a lot of informations on the digital space about depression, but there's almost no knowledge about it. Same thing with mental health. When it comes to depression, somebody cannot say you are depressed if you're persistent. Listen to how I called it though. Persistent sadness is characterized by persistent sadness, and it has to last for 2 weeks or more. And then the sadness is not just the pointer to you being depressed. We have about 9 clinical symptoms of depression. If you cannot present at least 6 that have lasted for 2 weeks or more, we cannot say you're depressed. However, you could be on the path to depression or dealing with other mental health concerns that a vacation, a staycation, or something can fix. I don't know if I'm making sense now. Now, I'll mention about 4 signs of depression: feelings of worthlessness, feelings of hopelessness, feelings of helplessness, isolation, withdrawing from people. Long and short story, the end of it is suicidal ideation. So, yes, like you mentioned, oh, burnout, the person might be burnt out, or the person sometimes you say unnecessary sadness. No, if you sit down to really want to process, we shy away from processing things. That's why when people come for therapy, you hear, they just want to bring out my problem. Nobody's trying to bring out your problem. We are helping you to get your solution yourself because you're processing it. So if you sit down to process your thoughts, where you realize that, oh, there's something that's actually there's something actually making you sad, just that you've not paid attention to it. And if you say a lot of persons are depressed in the tech industry, it's not just in the tech industry, in different firms. I won't argue with you because there's something called high functioning depression, otherwise called smiling depression. Not like it's a clinical name, but it's the way it presents itself. That's why we gave it out the high functioning depression or smiling depression. So there are a lot of persons that they're doing well at work, they're doing fine, they're doing everything, but then when they get back home, once they step their feet into their door, through their door rather, the story changes. In fact, it's only their family members that can tell you that part of them, because you will never believe, even if somebody tells you that this person throws tantrums, this person can pick something and smash your head, different behaviors. Now, but this is the same person you meet at work that is a jolly good fellow. And sometimes too, it cannot be depression, sometimes it can be depression, sometimes it might be an underlying cause, or two mental health conditions presenting themselves together, what we call comorbidities, right? And let me mention too that there's a particular form of depression that some persons are going through that is not easily diagnosed. It's not even a Nigerian thing. It's not easily bipolar. A lot of persons are going through bipolar, but because of how the symptoms present itself, you might find it difficult to diagnose that this person is actually dealing with depression. Bipolar is otherwise called manic disorder. It's a depressive disorder. But it's almost very difficult to note. Why? Because it presents itself 2 weeks in, you are very happy, you are bubbly, you're everywhere. In fact, all the tech events in Port Harcourt, you'll be the MC. You are just happening. Chiget, you're everywhere. You are energetic, you are productive. After that 2 weeks, the next 2 weeks, you're sad, moody, just going jejeje, make nobody stress me, oh, this, that. After that 2 weeks, the coming week, you are still, so it's characterized by bouts of sadness, bouts of excitement, bouts of sadness, but so it's almost very difficult to actually say this person is going through depression when you are in that state, if the person is going through bipolar. Even it's very difficult for psychologists and even psychiatrists to note that this person is actually going through depression, because you have to take a lot of screening, a lot of assessments. You can even assess the person for 6 months and you're not able to lay hold, except the person intentionally starts becoming transparent and willing to be held accountable. They can actually finally hold foot on this person is actually depressed, but the person is dealing with bipolar. I don't know if I've made sense all of what I've said.
Yeah, yeah, yes, you have. And thank you so much for explaining that. I think it kind of gives me clarity. I really appreciate it. Okay, someone dropped a comment. I haven't known you from stress a long time ago. Management and planning is key. Thank you, Christy. Nice to see you here, Christy. I really appreciate you joining in. So, yeah, I don't think anyone has any other question. I already got clarity for mine. So if there's no other question, I think we've had this talk on for so long, and we'll be coming to a close now. The recording of this will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So when it's posted, please, I'll need you to, like, share, comment. The link will be dropped on our socials, and if you're in our group chat, it will be posted there as well. So before I call this to a close, I would like to know if my bosses have any other thing to add. Caleb, Philip, anything? Okay, I guess nothing. So once again, thank you so much, Comfort, for agreeing to do this. I don't know, on a later time, I feel I would like to have you on a Twitter space instead of like a webinar, so we can, throw questions, have you answer them, and also get questions from the audience as well. But I'll be in contact. I'll be in touch with you for that. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us once again. When the link is out, I'll let you know. And then there's a badge for speakers. I'll have to confirm that. I'll send it over to you as well. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.